Hey everyone, welcome back to Echo Your English. I'm Emily, and it's really nice to have you here with us.
And I'm Ryan. Whether you're listening while resting, walking, or doing something else, we're glad you chose to spend this time with us.
There's nothing you need to prepare for this episode. You don't need to repeat anything, and you don't need to focus too hard on every single word.
You can just let the conversation play naturally, the same way you'd listen to people talking nearby, picking up the feeling more than the details.
That's how language slowly becomes familiar, not by forcing it, but by being around it.
And that's exactly what we try to create here on Echo Your English. Real conversations, spoken at a natural pace about ordinary things.
Today, we're talking about daily problems. Not big problems, not dramatic situations, just the small things that quietly shape how a day feels.
The kind of things people mention casually, sometimes without even realizing they're describing a problem.
A day that feels slightly uneven. Moments where attention drifts, or plans that don't settle the way you expected.
These are the conversations people have all the time in short chats, quick check-ins, or even in messages.
But they're rarely taught, and that's why they can feel confusing for English learners.
Not because the words are difficult, but because the language is subtle and relaxed.
People don't explain everything they're feeling. They usually share just enough to be understood.
A short sentence, a small comment, or a tone that carries more meaning than the words themselves.
And the other person understands without asking too many questions.
That's what everyday English sounds like. It's flexible, it's human, and it fits into real life.
So while you're listening, there's no pressure to respond or remember anything.
Just stay with the sound of the conversation and let it settle naturally.
Those everyday moments usually begin quietly. Nothing dramatic happens, but you can feel that the day isn't moving quite the way you imagined.
Yeah, it's that feeling where you're doing things, but you don't feel fully settled into them yet.
Someone might say, I feel like the day started too fast, even if they woke up on time.
Or they'll say, I'm already trying to catch up, without being able to point to one clear reason.
What's interesting is that people don't usually explain those feelings in detail,
They don't list events, they just name the feeling and let it hang there.
and the listener almost always understands what that means.
They respond with something simple like, yeah, I've had days like that, or that happens.
That response isn't meant to fix anything.
It just says you're not strange for feeling this way.
Losing focus comes up a lot in these conversations too.
Especially when the day feels broken into too many pieces.
Someone might say, I keep switching between things, or I can't stay with one task for long.
Those sentences sound casual, but they describe a very real experience.
And again, the response stays light.
That happens to me too, or some days are just like that.
There's comfort in hearing that.
It makes the feeling feel normal instead of personal.
Another thing people talk about is plans shifting slightly.
Not big changes, just enough to disturb the flow.
Someone might say, I thought today would be simple, but it turned out differently.
That sentence carries a small amount of surprise, maybe a little disappointment.
And the listener usually meets it gently.
Yeah, days can be unpredictable, or that happens more often than we expect.
These exchanges don't last long, but they matter.
They help people release a bit of tension without making the conversation heavy.
People also comment on how time feels.
Like saying, the morning disappeared, or the day's moving strangely fast.
Those sentences aren't about clocks,
They're about experience.
and that's what the listener responds to. Not the facts, but the feeling behind them.
These kinds of comments slip into conversation naturally.
Almost without planning.
And once you start noticing them, you realize how often people talk like this.
It's quiet, flexible English, shaped by how the day is unfolding. As the day moves on, People often stop talking about pace and start talking about how things feel internally.
Yeah, it becomes less about what's happening around them and more about what's happening inside.
Someone might say, I don't feel quite myself today, and leave it there.
That sentence doesn't ask for questions. It just puts a feeling into the space.
And most listeners don't push for an explanation.
They respond to the feeling instead of the reason.
I get that, or those days come and go.
Simple responses, but they carry understanding.
Uncertainty shows up a lot in these moments.
People say things like, I'm not sure what's going on with me today.
That sentence allows confusion to exist without pressure.
And the response usually respects that.
You don't have to figure it out right now, or sometimes feelings don't have a clear cause.
English makes room for that kind of honesty.
Another thing people mention is mental heaviness.
Instead of naming a specific problem, they say, there's a lot on my mind.
Or, I feel like everything is piling up.
Those phrases stay intentionally vague,
They communicate weight without details.
and listeners usually understand immediately.
That sounds like a lot, or anyone would feel that way.
Again, no advice, no solutions.
Just acknowledgement.
What's interesting is how often people soften what they're saying.
Words like kind of, a bit, or sort of appear everywhere.
I feel kind of unsettled.
Things feel a bit heavier today.
Those small words make sharing easier,
They lower the emotional intensity.
and they make it safer to speak honestly.
People also talk about moments that linger emotionally.
Like saying, that conversation stayed with me.
Or, I've been thinking about that more than I expected.
Those sentences show reflection without blame.
And the response usually stays calm and open.
Yeah, some things take time to process.
Or, that can sit with you for a while.
There's no rush implied.
Another common expression is about enthusiasm fading slightly.
People might say, I don't feel as excited as I usually do.
That sentence is quiet but meaningful.
And the response is usually gentle.
That comes and goes, or it doesn't mean anything is wrong.
Reassurance without dismissing the feeling.
Daily conversations are full of this balance.
Enough honesty to feel real.
Enough softness to feel safe.
And over time, hearing this kind of language changes how English feels.
It starts to feel more forgiving,
More human.
like something you can step into even when you don't have clear words yet. Another place where daily language shows itself clearly is in how people manage space, especially around other people.
Yeah, those moments when you're deciding how much to engage without saying it directly.
Someone might say, I might keep things low-key today, and that sentence already sets a boundary.
Or, I don't really feel like making plans, which sounds casual but is very clear.
What's interesting is how gentle these sentences are.
They don't sound defensive.
They don't sound final.
They just describe where the person is right now.
And the response usually respects that.
That's totally fine, or we can take it easy.
No explanation needed.
Another common situation is when plans change slightly.
Not canceled, just adjusted.
Someone might say, can we do this another time? Or I might be a bit late.
Those sentences are very everyday.
And people rarely take them personally.
The response is often flexible.
No problem, or that works.
Flexibility keeps things comfortable.
People also talk about needing quiet in small ways.
Like saying, I need a little space today.
Or I'm not very talkative right now.
Those sentences aren't dramatic,
They're just honest.
and the listener usually adjusts.
I get that, or take your time.
That adjustment happens naturally.
Another thing that comes up is changing the pace of a conversation.
Someone might slow down, speak less, or answer more briefly.
And the other person often mirrors that without thinking.
They don't push for more words.
They let the conversation breathe,
That's an important part of social comfort.
knowing you don't have to perform.
Or fill every silence.
Silence can be part of connection.
People also use soft language when they say no.
Instead of a direct refusal, they say, I don't think I can today.
Or I might pass this time.
Those phrases leave the door open.
And they keep the tone light.
The response usually matches that softness.
No worries, or maybe another time.
No tension builds.
These small choices in language help people stay connected.
Even when they're setting limits.
And hearing these patterns helps learners realize something important.
English isn't only about expressing ideas.
It's also about managing comfort
Yours and the other person's.
through small, careful choices.
Made in the moment without much thought.
When the same situations keep coming back, people start talking about them in a slightly different way.
Yeah, the tone changes. There's less surprise and more familiarity.
Someone might say, "It's been like this for a while now," and that sentence already carries acceptance.
Or nothing's really changed, said calmly, without frustration.
Those sentences don't sound dramatic,
They sound realistic.
and the listener usually hears that.
They don't respond with shock or urgency.
They respond with understanding.
That makes sense, or that's how it's been, yeah.
Repetition shows up a lot in daily conversations.
Especially with routines or ongoing situations.
People say things like, "Every day feels similar lately."
Or I'm still dealing with the same things.
Those phrases don't ask for solutions,
They just describe a pattern.
and the response usually reflects that steadiness.
That can take time, or some things move slowly.
Time is often the quiet answer in these moments.
Not in a hopeful way, not in a dismissive way.
Just as a fact.
Another thing people do is lower their expectations in how they talk.
They might say, "I'm taking it as it comes."
Or I'm not pushing it anymore.
Those sentences show a shift, less resistance, more acceptance.
And the response usually supports that.
That sounds healthy, or that's probably wise.
There's no rush implied. No sense that something needs to be fixed right now.
People also talk about familiar challenges almost casually.
Like saying, same situation, different day.
That sentence can sound light, but it carries a lot.
It shows recognition without complaint.
And listeners usually understand the tone.
They might smile or say, yeah, I know what you mean.
Shared familiarity builds connection.
It turns a problem into something mutual.
Another common phrase is about letting go of control.
I'm just letting things be for now.
Or, "I've stopped trying to force it."
Those sentences are calm.
And the response usually respects that calm.
That makes sense, or sometimes that's best.
These exchanges feel steady,
Not energetic, not heavy.
just grounded,
And that grounding helps people keep moving.
without needing clarity or resolution.
Just with a sense that the situation is manageable, even if it's ongoing.
After a while, conversations around these everyday situations start to slow down on their own.
Yeah, there's less explaining and more quiet understanding.
People don't repeat the whole story anymore.
They might just say, it's one of those days, and that's enough.
The listener already knows what that means.
And the response doesn't add much either.
Yeah, or "I hear you."
Short, but full.
This is where conversations feel less like exchanges of information.
And more like shared space.
pauses become more natural.
Silence doesn't feel awkward.
Sometimes it even feels supportive.
Two people sitting in the same moment without needing to name everything.
You can hear it when someone slows their voice slightly.
Or when answers get shorter, not because they're uninterested, but because they're settled.
Settled into the feeling.
And the other person usually follows that pace.
They don't push the conversation forward.
They let it stay where it is.
This is also where advice naturally disappears.
Not because it's wrong, but because it's unnecessary.
The problem has already been acknowledged.
That's often enough.
People might shift topics gently,
Or let the conversation fade for a moment.
and that fading doesn't feel like an ending.
It just feels like a pause.
Daily conversations do this all the time,
They soften without announcing it.
and they teach you something important about English.
You don't always need more words,
Sometimes fewer words say more.
especially when there's already understanding in the room.
That understanding changes how language feels.
It becomes later
More natural.
and easier to stay inside.
When conversations reach that softer place, people often become more reflective without trying to be.
Yeah, it's not deep thinking, just a quiet noticing of how things are.
Someone might say, I guess this is just where things are right now, without sounding disappointed.
That sentence doesn't give up on anything, it just acknowledges the present.
And the response usually respects that honesty.
Yeah, or that makes sense.
No correction, no encouragement.
Just agreement.
In these moments, people sometimes talk less about problems and more about presence.
Like saying it's okay as it is, even if nothing has changed.
That sentence carries calm.
And the listener often feels it too.
There's also a shift in how people listen.
They stop waiting to reply,
They just listen.
and that changes the energy of the conversation.
It becomes slower,
Quieter.
more grounded.
People might share something small and personal at this point.
Not dramatic, just honest.
I'm learning to take things one day at a time.
That sentence doesn't invite advice,
It invites understanding.
and the response usually matches that tone.
That's enough, or that sounds steady.
Steady is a good word here.
It doesn't promise anything.
It just describes balance.
Another thing that happens is that people stop explaining themselves
They don't feel the need to justify how they feel.
because they feel understood already,
That's when conversations feel safest,
not because everything is clear.
but because clarity isn't required.
English feels very gentle in these moments,
It doesn't demand energy,
or performance,
just presence.
and that's something learners often don't expect.
They think speaking means doing more,
But often it means doing less,
saying less,
listening more,
and allowing the moment to be what it is.
without pushing it anywhere,
That's when English stops feeling like a task.
and starts feeling like a shared experience.
At this point, conversations don't really need direction anymore. They exist comfortably, without effort.
Yeah, it's like both people know there's nothing left to explain.
Someone might say, I'm glad we talked, very quietly, almost to themselves.
And the other person understands exactly what that means.
It's not about solving anything.
It's about feeling a little more settled than before.
These moments often arrive without warning.
You don't plan them.
They come from staying present long enough.
From not rushing to change the topic or fix the feeling.
People sometimes notice that their body relaxes,
Shoulders drop, breathing slows.
and the words naturally become fewer,
Not because there's nothing to say.
but because nothing needs to be said,
In everyday English, this kind of quiet is very common.
especially between people who feel comfortable with each other.
There might be a small comment, almost like a closing thought.
I think I'll keep things simple tonight.
Or I'm going to take it easy for a bit,
Those sentences gently turn the attention forward,
without forcing optimism.
and the response usually mirrors that calm.
That sounds good, or enjoy that.
No advice, no questions.
Just acceptance.
People also show appreciation in subtle ways here.
A simple thanks for listening.
Or, it helps to say that out loud.
Those sentences acknowledge connection.
And the response is just as simple.
Anytime, or I'm here.
These exchanges don't feel like conclusions,
They feel like a natural resting point.
a place where the conversation can pause.
And pick up again another time.
That's something real conversations do very well.
They don't need strong endings.
They just need honesty.
And space.
Enough space for both people to leave the moment feeling lighter.
Even if nothing has changed externally.
Something inside usually has. When conversations end this way, they don't really feel like endings.
They feel more like a gentle pause, something that can be returned to later.
People often leave with a quiet sense of ease, not because answers were found, but because the moment was shared.
And that's something everyday English does very well.
It gives people a way to be together in ordinary moments without needing the right words.
Or the perfect response.
Just honesty, spoken simply.
And listening without rushing.
If you're learning English, this is an important thing to notice.
You don't have to sound impressive.
You don't have to explain everything.
You just have to stay present in the moment you're in.
The language will follow naturally.
That's why listening like this matters.
Not to memorize sentences,
But to feel how English moves in real life.
how it softens, how it slows, how it makes space.
And if this kind of listening feels helpful to you, you can subscribe to Echo Your English and spend more time with conversations like this.
We're glad you were here with us today.
Take care, and we'll talk again soon.
Bye for now.